name's Joshua. I'm a sales operation manager here. A little bit about me. I've been with Sucuri now for 4 years. Once again, my title is sales operations manager. Basically means I do a little bit of everything. I'm married to a beautiful wife with 2 wonderful daughters, and I love games, man. Board games, video games. I even look at security like a game and enjoy laughing. So let's have some fun and some laughs and learn a little in the process. But before we get started, let me hand it off to my cohort in crime here, Steven.
Hey guys, Steven Johnston here. I'm one of our agency sales consultants here over at Sucuri. I've actually been working at Sucuri for about a year and a half now. I work directly underneath Josh. And a little bit about myself personally. I'm married. I have 3 great kids. And my hobbies are, love my religion, my family. As you can tell behind me, I love guitars, and I'm big on technology and security. And the 2 go hand in hand. So that's a great fit.
Fantastic. So what are we going to be doing today? Well, first we have to define what a hack is, go over the OWASP top 10, go a little bit into what a backdoor is, and SQL injections, cross-site scripting, and other things. So let's get started. So they asked me to do this and talk about the most common type of hacks, and the first thing I thought of was, well, what the heck is a hack? Because the first thing that popped into my mind was malware, but we just did a webinar about malware not too long ago. Steven, what do you consider a hack? What's a hack in your mind?
Yeah. To me, a hack would be the use of a computer to gain unauthorized access to a data within a given system.
Fantastic. Very Webster dictionary right
Yeah.
there. And you're right, and that's kind of what I looked at too, was attack vectors. But what other things are out there? A DDoS is a DDoS and a hack. Well, first, a DDoS, by the way, is a distributed denial of service attack. It's basically flooding a system to take your website or the system offline. And like I said, I also looked at malware, which is basically, this browser side code or
Malicious software.
Yeah, exactly. But like you said, what it comes down to is kind of the attack vectors. It's the way people are getting into a site. And that really brings us into OWASP, the top 10. OWASP is a wonderful acronym, and Steven, you're my acronym expert, so go for it, sir.
Yes, so OWASP stands for Open Web Application Security Project. Basically, it's an organization that provides information about computer and internet applications, but they're most famous for their list of top 10 vulnerabilities, which basically shows the public the 10 most common forms of attack or attack opportunities, on these applications.
Perfect. Couldn't say it better myself. We'll jump right into these things. I'm going to go through each one kind of real briefly, just give you an idea or a general top level overview of them. The first one we've got is the injection attacks, which most people, when they think of an injection attack, it's SQL injection, where people are kind of breaking out of a line inside the site and entering their own code into SQL to get information back from the database. We've got broken authentications or flaws in authentication. A big one for this is brute force attacks. We see it a lot for people who use our plugin. I can't tell you how many times we get an email saying, your plugin is spamming me. I'm getting like 300 emails every 10 minutes saying that, people are trying to log into my site. How do I shut off the notifications? They never ask, how do I stop these attacks? They ask, how do I shut off the notifications?
Yeah, focus on the symptoms.
Right? I mean, come on. But anyway, brute force, broken authentication, sensitive data exposure, either in transit or stored data. SSL stops the transit. The stored data, well, that can be a little different. In fact, there was an insurance company not too long ago, I want to say within the last month, that had posted a bunch of their customers' information on the website. Anybody had access to it, and I think it was like 3 weeks before they discovered it.
It's horrible.
Great job. It happens all the time, right? XML external entities. This is by uploading an XML script or injecting an XML script into an XML processor. XML is it's kind of like a coding language or a set of directions. It can be used for other things as well. You were telling me a funny one earlier, Stephen. What was it? Some kind of injection or?
Yeah, this type of attack is really big for DDoS attacks. There's a really well-known one called the Billion Laughs DDoS attack, where essentially the cyber criminal sends a bunch of LOLs to a website and then overloads it until the website doesn't work anymore. Billion Laughs. That's one to watch out for.
Man, I bet you the website owner isn't LOLing.
Yeah,
That's
I
harsh.
bet.
All right. So broken access control, basically gaining access to areas they're not supposed to have access to, going into a website and forcing yourself to have more permissions than you're supposed to. Security misconfigurations. This one's fantastic. Not changing your default username and password, for example. I love it. This is a big one that's out there. In fact, in the Internet of Things, website camera or security cameras, you, man, routers, everything. There's even a website search engine out there that scans the Internet of Things looking for default usernames and passwords. And if it finds it, it puts it into the search engine. I was playing around on this search engine and I got to go and view cameras at a local hospital here that were all default username and passwords. There was one, it was fantastic. It was a business, and they had the security camera pointing right at the cash register, so I could see exactly how much money was in the cash register at any given time. Great if I was a crook, right?
Yeah, this is a dangerous situation to find yourself in.
Exactly.
Yeah, never use the default passwords and settings for a security system. Man, this sounds like something a dark Sith Lord would create.
Right, and it's all saved on a search engine. It's horrible. So if you've got a default username and password, man, change it now, please. I beg you. To get more into the Internet of Things, we did a honeypot server. So we put a server up there that was just a default username and password on it, and it took. I'm not kidding here. It took 5 minutes for it to be weaponized, meaning somebody broke into it with the default username and password and turned it into a DDoS within 5 minutes. It's horrible.
Man.
Cross-site scripting. We'll go into that in more detail in a little bit here, but yeah, that's a big one. Insecure deserialization. Give you an idea. Serialization is changing objects to byte strings. Deserialization is changing those byte strings into objects. An example of this would be like a recent attack type was a cookie that was stored in a person's computer. They deserialized it, changed the cookie to say that they were a user into an admin, reserialized it, saved it on their computer. Now when they visit that site and the site pulls the cookie information, it looks like they're an admin and they have better access than what they should.
All this talk about cookies and cereal is making me hungry.
Right? It is kind of late for breakfast. Haven't you eaten yet? Using components with known vulnerability. So that's kind of like saying, hey, I know this door lock doesn't work, but I'm going to put it on anyway. That should keep people out. It doesn't work. Big one, for example, is the old Tim Thumb vulnerability from years ago, and people are still using the outdated Tim Thumb plugin. Fantastic job, guys. Basically saying, hey, look, come on in. And insufficient logging and monitoring. It's kind of hard to protect if you don't know what's happening or you ignore what's going on. I'll go back to our plugin again. Hey, I'm getting all these emails saying people are trying to attack my site. How do I stop the emails? Protect your site, maybe? No, you just want to shut off the emails. Okay, got you. It's in the settings. Having that logging doesn't help.
Yeah, but, and something interesting about this OWASP top 10 list is that Sucuri's firewall can alleviate almost all of these options. With the exception of personal security hygiene, things like having a good password. Obviously, I mean, our firewall isn't going to be able to help against that. That's on the user.
That's true. In a way, though, it does, because you can blacklist any IP address except for yours. You can whitelist your own IP address, and then it doesn't matter if your password sucks because only your IP address can get in there.
This is true.
So, but yeah, good point. So let's go into a little bit more of the cross-site scripting. There's a bunch of different ways of cross-site scripting. The first is reflected cross-site scripting, which allows the attacker to execute HTML and JavaScript in the victim's browser, basically via code that's on the site that you can have it forced to work inside the browser. Fun stuff. Stored cross-site scripting, or basically allowing an attacker to view the user's input, because, who wouldn't want to see what you're typing into a website, such as credit card details, usernames, passwords? None of that's important. And then there's the DOM XSS, or cross-site scripting. And, DOM makes me think dominatrix, but I know that's not right. So I'm going to hand it back to you, Stephen. You're my expert of these acronyms. So
yeah, DOM stands for Document Object Model Based Cross-Site Scripting. It's just another type of cross-site scripting. This one plays heavily off of things like API, but altogether, this specific type of attack takes advantages of things like a blog or contact form, or even the comment section of a website. So this is a big one to watch out for.
Fun stuff, isn't it? So the DOM cross-site scripting is for replacements or defacements and those kind of things. And that brings us to backdoors. And the reason I put backdoors on here is partially because of our hack trend report. So every year we do this hack trend report of what we're seeing in these sites. And this last one, you can download it from our website, but 68% of the malware we removed were backdoors that were added to a site so that a hacker will be able to get back into your site at a future point in time. That's a lot. That is a lot, considering we deal with a ton of malware, and almost 70% of it is just backdoors alone. I love it. We get asked on a daily basis, can we do a one-time cleanup? And we always tell people no. And I think this statistic goes a long way to showing why we say no, because if 70% of what we're removing is backdoors, then chances are the people are coming back to your site. And if we clean it up and you don't fix whatever the original issue was, however they got in originally, they're going to be back and they're going to hack you again. So one-time cleanup just kind of makes people angry because they feel like we didn't do our job of cleaning properly when they get reinfected. But really what it is it's they're finding their way back in via whatever the original issue was. But yeah, backdoors, not always a bad thing. Sometimes it allows companies to take a look at a user's platform as if they were the user, and that can be considered a backdoor. But what we're talking about here are backdoors that are put in by code from the hacker when they attack.
Yeah, it's like the cyber criminal knows where you keep the secret backup key underneath the welcome mat. They know where to find it and how to get in.
Exactly. Basically, what they're doing is they're putting the welcome key there. They're putting it under the mat for them, so that they know how to get back in.
Right.
But with that, I'll turn it back over to our wonderful host, Nikki, and answer any questions you guys have.
Great job, guys. Thank you so much for that. And thank you for everybody who's attending. Let's see here. We have our questions coming through. Just remember that these will be available at our sucuri.com/webinars once we have this recording finalized, so you can come back to it at any time. I'd actually like Steve to do a guitar solo and say DOM XSS 3 times fast. I would like That's mine. Okay. But let's see what we have. Someone here from Arizona, you guys' area. What should I trust? Why should I trust OWASP?
Yeah, I can answer that. So, OWASP, this is a a publicly open organization that is made up of your peers, essentially, in terms of online presence. And then their list is something that they all have to agree on, as being the greatest threats to these websites. It is created through extensive research and experience. The findings are made public to all the group members, to agree upon before it's officially released or published. And then these same findings, they've been verified globally on a daily basis since they've been released. So really, the truth is these vulnerabilities will affect you whether or not you trust the organization reporting them.
Got it. Makes sense. But let's see here. We have also, we get this one all the time, but this is the thing everybody wants to know is what is the most unique attack or the most common attack that you guys as Sucurians?
I think the most unique one that I've ever seen, or at least my personal favorite, was there was a vulnerability within WordPress quite a while ago where the person went into a comment section of a blog, and they put in a little bit on one comment, a little bit on the next comment, and a little bit on the third comment. And when you look at it, it just looks like gobbledygook, right? Nothing happens. Then a few months later, when WordPress goes in and they archived those comments, it put all three of those comments together and it executed the code. I mean, amount of thought that goes into that to say, oh, this is the way that it's going to work, and 3 months from now, my hack is going to be executed, to me is just phenomenal. And it was a very unique one that I've seen that I just thought was amazing.
If only they could use their genius for good.
Right?
The world would be a better place.
Sometimes they get them over to the good side.
Sometimes. But yeah, WordPress is really heavy on the attacks. Not necessarily because WordPress is insecure, just that it's so popular. It's going to bound to attract cyber criminals that direction.
That's it.
Well, now you've opened up a can, because now we have what is the most common off-site attack when the attacker doesn't have an actual access to the WordPress site.
A lot of these attacks, the people don't have access to the site, so to speak. They're such as the SQL injection is a very common one. They don't actually have access into the back end, but the back end of WordPress, for example, is a SQL database. So if you have a form question, right, and basically what that form is doing is it's sending the information into the SQL database to be stored. A SQL injection is where they put in a bracket or something and break that connection to the database. And basically what they can do is add additional SQL commands to that line, and it sends the information back to them. So that would be a type of an attack where they're getting information from your database, even though they didn't have access to the actual WordPress site.
Oh, wow. Okay. That is different then. Thank you for that, answering that thoroughly there. Okay, we have another one. Time? Yeah, we do. You said that there is a logging process within Sucuri Firewall. How would I be able to set up logging if there were attacks to my site? I've seen email reports on uptime, SSL, etc. Have I been lucky and not had an attack yet?
Under our firewall dashboard, there is a real-time section or an audit trail that you can look at, and it will show you what we've blocked and what we haven't blocked and what we have allowed through. You can actually go in and click on any of the blocks that you see, and it'll give you an exact reason why we blocked it. On top of that, if you want to get into more in-depth, we do have integrations such as SIME integration where you can have the log sent to you under our enterprise plans. But the audit trail is where I would go to take a look, and that's going to give you the most in-depth information. You can also take a look at the API tab on WordPress, and you can set up some API calls to check different aspects of the logging.
Perfect. Got them right in the right direction there. Some of these are actually anonymous, so I can't give you where place of these people, but thank you for giving your questions to us. Lastly, because there's a few that look pretty similar, so I think we've covered it, but we can go more in depth offline. But lastly, I see with different hacks coming in all the time, how do you stay up to date?
Well, that's hard. That's part of the reason why we try to get people to sign up with a expert, because an expert's going to be on task all the time learning these things. One of the things that here at Sucuri that we have a benefit of is that we have people cleaning these sites along with the firewall to protect the sites, right? So as we see the types of cleanups that we're doing on a daily basis, if we see something new, we can put that rule into the firewall to prevent it going forward right away, since it's all in-house. Plus, we have researchers that basically those are the guys that use their evil knowledge for good, and they go out there and they try to do the hacks, and they protect the sites against that they find.
Yeah, with our 0-day patching, if one person is affected by it, it is immediately sent out to everyone. So everyone else can benefit from that security.
Yep.
Oh, good. That's good to know. Sure. Oh, ooh, can I just one more question?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Facebook. I am sorry, I'm not going to say his name right. Masanko, possibly. Can you give me a price for a full VPS3 monitoring where we have more than 10 websites?
Can I give you a price? No. But if let me take that offline and get one of my experts to reach out to you, because there's a lot of things that are going to be dependent on that, such as the number of servers, which it sounds like one, but I want to get some more information just to make sure, and we can set you up with whatever package would work best for you.
Great. So we will get back to you for sure. And okay, I think one more. Maybe I'm trying to trip you up, see if you can answer them all. What does it mean when someone is attacking XML RPC, a PHP, and sending post requests on WordPress sites?
Ooh. Well, it could be several things. It could be a type of DDoS attack where they're sending post request after post request to try to bring down the site. But I'd imagine it could also be different things, because they're sending commands. So they could be trying to do an XML injection attack. I'd have to look at it more in depth and take a look at the logs and see what type of post request they're sending, what the exact command string is, and then we could give you more information. If you email abuse@sucuri.net with some of that information, our research team can take a look at it.
Great. It did sound like one of those that our analysts take a look at more in depth. So we will do that for you guys, though. I think that's it for now. If there's any other questions, we can still get through chat and everything and add them to our Q&A at the back end of this webinar for sure. Lastly, I'd like to say, please, if could you share the webinar, that'd be great, with fellow, digital citizens out there. I thank you guys, Stephen, Josh, again, great from Arizona, Nikki from Cali. I'm saying my goodbyes to you guys that were the attendees. Anything else? You guys can take it from here. Say goodbye.
Yeah. Don't forget to visit us at WordCamp Europe. I believe it starts this Thursday. It's going to be in Berlin, Germany. We'll be at the GoDaddy booth there.
Yeah, say hi to the guys that are there, because we spend a lot of money sending them over there, so I'd like to see that they actually are doing something and not just vacationing in Germany for a couple of days. So keep them busy, ask questions. I'd appreciate that. And join us next month, guys. I'll be back here speaking to you again. I believe the topic is going to be why hackers hack. And beyond, because they're jerks, there is more information there. So hopefully I'll see you next month, and if you're in the desert like we are, try to stay cool.
Thanks, guys.
See you guys.